Hey all, here OS Reviews. Today we're taking a quick look at the TECHOSS Eryisci. This is a power station that has 300 watts, so it has plenty of power that can keep things backed up if you are on the road, or if the power goes out for a short duration of time, you can still keep things up and running. It has a full-sized AC/DC plug, in addition to even a cigarette-style plug for car appliances. Aside from the large capacity, to be honest, we've seen a few of these large power stations or massive power banks in the past, but one extra feature on this model is it has a Qi wireless charging pad on the top. So if you have a compatible smartphone like the latest iPhones or a Samsung Galaxy device, you can pop it on top to quickly charge it without plugging anything in. Also has an LED flashlight, a LED display that can tell you the battery percentage and the wattage that it's using. Claims to charge up to 8 devices at once. Claims to also support input if you are plugging it into a solar panel. I will also mention that they offer other capacities for their power stations as well. It does have a pretty interesting design though with these green accents. I do like it quite a lot because many of the other power stations typically choose orange or yellow as the accents. It's kind of a minor thing, but I do like the fact they're trying to play around with offering different colors. Anyways, in the box, pretty simple. We have just a quick user guide, and we also have the charging adapters, so this will plug it in using the barrel plug. In addition, there's also a car adapter plug, so you can also charge the battery if you're driving, for example. However, you can also charge this using Type-C, which is both input and output. In my testing, it takes around 4 to 5 hours to completely charge up, which for 80,000 milliamp hours is still very fast. So a closer look at the design here, it is very boxy, reminiscent in fact of a car battery. So in terms of the dimensions, I do think that maybe the other slimmer model just looks a little more sleek, but overall it is what it is. We have these rubber bumpers which are accented in green as aforementioned, and on the side here we do have the flashlight, which you can trigger just by tapping on this particular key. You can turn that on. Overall it is pretty bright and energy efficient, but you aren't able to change the brightness level, so it just has this one mode that it can be in, aside from a flashing or strobing effect, which you can activate just by double tapping, and it will just blink. But if you tap on it again, it will essentially resume and turn off. By the way, the battery here weighs around 10 pounds. For the capacity, that's not bad, but it definitely seems a little heavier than what you would expect looking at the size alone. Anyways, in the front here, we have the aforementioned display telling you the percentage remaining, as well as when you have something plugged in, how much juice it's using up. We also have the aforementioned ports that you can tap on here basically to activate and turn on or off the individual sections, which is pretty neat. So for the USB, for example, we have 3 Type A full-size ports, which all support Qualcomm 3.0 up to 18 watts, and then now the power delivery 60 watt port there on the bottom, both input and output. Maybe they could have incorporated a second full-sized AC or DC port. Along all the other sides, we have just some ventilation grills and a fan as well that kicks in to prevent it from overheating. And against the light, we can see the fan here more clearly, simply named as a portable generator here on the very base, and just reiterates the power rating and specs. Now here, by the way, is a quick size comparison just for reference next to something like an average 6-inch phone these days. So it's not too bad in terms of the overall size. What I do like is that this handle feels pretty rigid, made out of polycarbonate plastic and rubber, and can also be folded down. So it takes up a little less space when you want to stack something on top, including the aforementioned Qi charging pad on here. This surface is just a coarse plastic, so it's not really grippy unless you're using the handle sections and setting the phone there. It provides a little more resistance, but I think maybe they could have treated this with a more soft touch material. So if we set a phone here on top with the wireless charging, we can see that the charging here has started. It's not going to be the fastest wireless charger in the world. Again, at 5 watts, maybe it can be bumped to 10 watts or even 15, but it still is functional and it's convenient that you don't really need to plug anything in and it can still work. I'm going to use the USB Type-C port here, and again, supplying up to 60 watts, so you can see how the charging here pretty much starts the moment that we plug it in. At the same time, it can be charging, let's say, another phone, tablet, or wireless headphones, and that will also work really without any issues. As you can see there. So it will charge up all these devices. What you'll find is when you're using just the wireless charging or all of the USB and the Type-C port as well, During operation, it doesn't actually use the fan, so it remains silent. It only kicks in once you plug it into the AC or DC port, since over here I believe the output can reach up to 120 watts. It doesn't always turn on, it only does so if it recognizes that it is requiring to use more power. This is otherwise a pretty as advertised battery, even though it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but still is a very solid overall power station. You can check out more details if interested. For now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the T300 Eryisci Power Station.